The Strangest Secret in the World by Earl Nightingale, audiobook summary. I would like to tell you about the rarest secret in the world, an extraordinary magical revelation. Paulo Coelho wrote, "When you sow a thought, you reap an action. When you sow an action, you reap a habit. When you sow a habit, you reap a destiny." We on this earth are especially fortunate. We live in an age full of opportunities. However, let us reflect on what really happens. Let us take, for example, 100 men who start at the same level at the age of 25. Do you have any idea what these men will be like when they are 65? The 100 who start at the same level at the age of 25 will be like that when they are 65. 25-year-olds think they will be successful men. If we were to ask any of them if they wanted to succeed, the answer would undoubtedly be in the affirmative, and there would be a certain eagerness and lust for life, a certain sparkle in their eyes, arrogance in their posture, and they approach life as a great adventure. But when these men are 65, one of them will be rich, 4 will be financially independent, 5 will still be working, and 54 will be bankrupt. Think for a moment. Out of 100, only 5 made it. Why did so many fail? What happened to the spark and brilliance they had at 25? What happened to their dreams, hopes, and plans, and why is there such a disparity between what they tried and what they actually achieved? When we say that about 5% succeeded, we must define success. Success is the progressive realization of a valuable ideal. If a man is a man of 25, he is a man of 25. If he works for a predetermined goal and knows where he is going, that man is successful. If he is not, he is a failure. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Ronald May, the distinguished psychiatrist, wrote a magnificent book called Man's Search for Himself, and he says in it, "In our society, the opposite of courage is not cowardice, it is conformity. This is the problem of our time, conformity. People act like everyone else without knowing why they do it, without knowing where they're going." Let us consider for a moment that in our country, a great majority of people depend on someone to satisfy their vital needs. Now, we learn to read at 7 years old. We learn to earn a living at 25. Generally, at this stage, we not only earn our living, but we support a family. And yet, at 65 years old, we are still not capable of economic independence. Why? Because we settle, and the problem is that we act like the wrong percentage of the group, the 95% who don't succeed. Why do people settle? They really don't know. They think their lives are determined by circumstances, by things that happen to them, by outside forces, that they are directed from the outside. A survey was once carried out involving many workers who were asked, "Why do you work? Why do you get up every morning?" 19 out of 20 did not know what to answer. When asked these questions, they replied, "Everybody goes to work in the morning, and for this reason, they do it, because everybody does it." Let's go back to our definition of success. Who succeeds? Only men succeed who progressively realize a worthy ideal. The man succeeds who says, "I'm going to do this," and starts working for his goal. The teacher succeeds who teaches classes, because that is precisely what she wants to do. The woman who is a wife and mother, because she wanted to be and does a good job. The man who works at a gas station because he likes it. The salesman who seeks to improve himself and to grow and build within his company. Any person who deliberately does a certain job because he deliberately decided that he wanted to do it succeeds. But only 1 in 20 men does this. This is why there is no real competition today unless we make it ourselves. Instead of competing, we must create. For 20 years, I searched for the key to predicting people's future. Was there really a key to knowing the future? Was there a way to guarantee success for a person by knowing and using a key well? I discovered that there is such a key, and I know it. Have you ever wondered why so many men work hard and honestly without ever accomplishing anything specific, while others seem to work hard and yet accomplish everything? They have the magic touch. You've probably heard that someone turns everything he touches into gold, and you've observed that a successful man tends to continue to succeed, while unsuccessful people tend to continue to fail. It's because of goals. Some of us have them, some of us don't. People with goals succeed because they know exactly where they're going. Think of a ship setting sail with its voyage perfectly planned and charts to follow. The captain and crew know exactly where they're going and how long it will take. There's a clearly defined goal. Surely 9,999 times out of 10,000 it will arrive where it set out to go. Now, let's think of another ship similar to the first, but without a captain or a crew. Let us not give the crew in command a goal or a destination. Let us simply start the engines and let it go. You will agree with me that if it ever leaves port, it will sink, wash up on some deserted beach, or sail off into the sunset. It cannot get anywhere because it has no destination. It has no guide. The same is true of man. Take the salesman, for example. There is no other person in the world who has the capabilities of the salesman. For good salesmen who know where they are going, selling is the highest paying occupation in the world. Every company needs a star salesman and is willing to reward him. The sky is the limit. But how many of these salesmen can we find? Let us return again to the strangest secret in the world. Why do men with goals succeed and those without fail? Let me tell you something that, if truly understood, will change your life immediately. If you clearly understand what I'm going to say, from this moment on your life will not be the same. And from now on, you will not have the problems and worries, nor the nagging feeling of anxiety that you have probably experienced. We live in the golden age. Doubts and fears will be a thing of the past. This is the key to success and failure. We become what we think. Let me say it again. We become what we think. Throughout history, great men, wise men and teachers, philosophers and prophets have disagreed on many points. Only on this point have they agreed. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, said, "A man's life is what his thoughts make of it." Disraeli said, "Everything will come if we wait." After much thought, I have become convinced that a man with a subtle purpose must achieve it, and that nothing can resist a will that will risk even existence to achieve its satisfaction. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that men can alter their lives by changing their mental attitude." He also said, "They need only act serenely, as if things were real, and they will invariably be true because of the relationship to our life that will make them real. They will become so established by habit and emotion that our interest in them will be that which characterizes faith," he also said. If one takes sufficient interest in a result, it is almost certain that it will come about. If he wishes to be rich, he will be. If he wishes to learn, he will learn. If he wishes to be good, he will be. You must only really and exclusively desire this and not think at the same time of hundreds of contrary and equally strong goals. In the Bible we read, St. Mark 9:23, "If you can believe, all things are possible, for all things are possible to him that believes." Dr. Norman Vincent Peale has said, "This is one of the great universal laws. I wish I had fervently discovered it in my youth, but it came to me later in life and I found it to be one of the most important discoveries, if not the most important one, apart from my relationship with God. And the great law says plain and simple, if you think in negative terms, you will get negative results. If you think in positive terms, you will get positive results. This is the principle that underlies such an amazing law of prosperity and success in 3 words: believe and succeed." William Shakespeare said it like this, "Our doubts are the traitors that make us lose the good that we could obtain because we fear to try." Get it? George Bernard Shaw said, "People are constantly blaming circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who succeed in this world are those who look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they create them." The above is clear enough, and those who have discovered it have thought at times that they were the first to realize it. We become what we think. It stands to reason that a person who thinks of a concrete and worthwhile goal will achieve it, because that is what he thinks of, and we become what we think of. Conversely, the man who has no goals, who does not know where he is going, and whose thoughts are therefore confused, full of anxiety, fear and worry, becomes what he thinks of. His life is full of frustration, fear, anxiety and worry, and if he thinks of nothing, he achieves nothing. How does this work? How will we become what we think of? To explain this, let's think of a situation that is parallel to the human mind. Let's think of a farmer who owns a good, fertile piece of land. The land offers a choice. He can plant whatever he chooses, and the land is of no interest to him. The farmer must make the decision. Let's remember that we compare the human mind to the land, because the mind, like the land, is not concerned with what we plant in it. It will simply return what is put in it. Let's suppose that the farmer has two seeds in his hand. One is corn and the other is a poisonous plant. He digs two holes in the ground and plants the two seeds. He covers the holes, he waters and takes care of his seeds. What will happen? The land will invariably produce what has been sown, and this is what the Bible says: you will reap what you sow. It will produce poison in the same abundance as corn. Both plants will grow, the corn and the poisonous one. The human mind is much more fertile, incredible and mysterious than the earth. It does not care what we plant, success or failure, a concrete and valuable goal or confusion, misunderstanding, fear, anxiety, etc. But what we plant will be returned to us. The human mind is the most explored continent that exists. It contains riches that surpass the most daring dreams, and it will return what we plant in it. We could say, if that is true, why do people not use their minds more? I think there is an answer. The mind is given to us as part of a team at birth. It is free, and we give little value to what does not cost us work to get. We value what we pay for. This is paradoxical because precisely what is our mind, our soul, our body, our dreams, ambitions, intelligence, love, family, children, friends, and so on. These priceless possessions are free. In fact, things that cost us money are very cheap, and we can replace them at any time. A man can go bankrupt and rebuild his fortune. He can do it several times. If our house burns down, we can rebuild it. But what is given to us for free is irreplaceable. The human mind is wasted simply because we take it for granted. We disdain it. Familiarity breeds contempt. The mind is capable of doing any work we assign it, but we usually use it only for unimportant matters. Various studies have shown that most men use only about 10% of their capacity. Decide now what you want. Plan your goals mentally. This is the most important decision of your life. If you want to be a top salesman, do your job better, occupy prominent positions in your company or community, you have only to plant that certain seed in your mind. Worry about it, work constantly toward your goal, and it will become a reality. Not only that, but it will be impossible not to achieve it. It is a law like Newton's law of gravity. If you climb a building and jump from the top, you will always fall. You will never rise. So it is with the other laws of nature. They always work. They are inflexible. Think of your goal with confidence and security. See yourself as having already achieved your goal. Think of yourself doing the things you will do when you have achieved your goals. Our age has been called the age of phenobarbital, of ulcers and nervous breakdowns. In times when medical advances have brought us to a higher level of health and longevity, many of us worry about the possibility of an early death and try to live and figure things out using our small resources. We forget that there are great universal laws that will figure things out for us. This is present in our habitual way of thinking. We are the sum total of our thoughts. What we think today and tomorrow, next month, next year, will shape and determine our life and future. Our mind is our guide. I remember one time when I was traveling through a state in my country and I saw one of those big machines that are used for road construction going at a speed of about 50 kilometers per hour, carrying what seemed to be about 20 tons of garbage. It was a tremendous, incredible machine. As I passed by it, I noticed that the driver was a small man who had the steering wheel in his hands. The resemblance between this machine and the human mind surprised me. Suppose you could control such a large amount of force and energy coming from such a source. Will you just sit back and let it drift aimlessly into a cliff or dead end? Or will you use all your strength to control and direct this energy towards a specific and worthwhile purpose? The decision is up to you. You have the controls. As you can see, the law that leads us to success is a two-edged sword. We must control our thinking. The same rules that can lead a man to success, wealth, health, happiness, and everything he dreamed of for himself and his family, the exact same laws can lead him to failure. It all depends on how you use them, good or bad. We live in the golden age. This is the strangest secret in the world. Why is it strange, and why do I say it is a secret? It is not really so. It has been expounded by some of the oldest sages and appears repeatedly in the Bible, but very few people who have heard it have understood it clearly. That is why it is strange and why it is also a secret. I believe that if you were to go out into the street and ask people, one man after another, the secret of success, it would take at least a month before you got the answer. That is why this information is so valuable to us if we are really able to understand it and apply it. Valuable not only to us, but to those around us, our family, employees, colleagues, friends, etc. Life should be an exciting adventure, never boring. Man should live fully, be really alive, enjoy the beginning of each day, and do work that he enjoys because he does it well. I once heard a speech by Mr. Patterson, editor of the Toledo Daily newspaper, with something I shall never forget. My years at the newspaper have taught me that people are basically good, that we came from somewhere and are going somewhere else. So we should make this step adventure. Surely the architect of the universe did not create a ladder that will take us nowhere. And the wisest of teachers, the carpenter of Galilee, gave us the secret again and again. To the extent that you believe, it will be given to you. At Planeta Libro, we hope you have enjoyed this work.